Good morning and welcome to the Duke and Dutch Show. We have a rainy, dreary day in Pennsylvania, Berks County currently. How are you doing today, Dutch?
I'm all right. Got a lot of news to get into here.
Absolutely.
See, what are our
We got a
topics
couple things we're
today?
going to be talking about. Yeah, you want to go over the topics for us, Tyler?
Sure. We got the SpaceX launch that I guess blew up about what was it, 46 minutes into
Yeah.
launch or whatever. But Elon Musk is still trying to get us to Mars, so good for Elon. I'm glad somebody's doing it. We have an update on the Carmelo Anthony situation, where he is going to be tried as an adult, as he should be, for the taking the life of Austin Metcalf back in April. There's been a lot of, there's a pretty big story. There's been a lot of scandal around that, and the whole GoFundMe or the Give Send Go thing. We also have, what is it? Oh yeah, we have an update on the Caitlin Clark situation. Apparently she's injured. She's out
Yep.
for 2 weeks, and the ticket sales are plummeting. A couple things with the WNBA. Firstly, we have this very interesting story about a woman who set her friend on fire and is only going to get to jail for like 4.5 years, which is pretty wild.
Yep.
But before we get into any of those topics, some of them light, some of them a little heavier, uh, please enjoy this 10-second clip of this emotional support kangaroo trying to get on an airplane.
She's the adult, isn't it? What's your hustle? Nó kêu anh kể đó mà chúc ở dưới đường bà phục cái loại này.
He looks very well behaved. I think I'd let him on the plane.
Yeah. Not sure if that's AI generated.
I don't know if it probably is because
It
I've
looks
never
like a
I've
well-behaved
I've never heard
kangaroo.
of an emotional support kangaroo, but
I'm sure it exists.
it probably does. If you see people go on planes, it's like they take like huge dogs on planes and stuff like that. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone has an
Under
emotional support animal
under
now.
the claim of emotional support. Yeah.
But yeah,
I've seen uh what's that animal? A possum. Emotional support possums.
an emotional support
Possum.
possum. I've never heard of that, but
Yeah.
I don't doubt it.
It's crazy.
So,
Yep.
this is the story. This is a bit of an older story, but we just got the sentencing on it. Excuse me. About I think it was last week. This comes from Australia, so it's not just the United States that's blanketed in misandry. It's also
Yeah.
Australia too, and probably the UK and yada yada yada.
I'm sure
Cord,
it's a world issue, yeah.
most well, it seems
Yeah.
like it anyway. Corby Jean Wapoli, an Australian woman, reportedly set her friend on fire because he made misogynistic remarks at a house party. The victim, Jake Loader, which is over here, was doused with gasoline and set ablaze by Walpole, sustaining critical burns on 55% of his body. Loader was burned so badly that he could no longer step into the sun safely. Walpole pleaded guilty to one charge of burning or maiming by using corrosive fluid. Now,
How's that
obviously,
not attempted murder?
I would think that is attempted murder, personally.
Yeah.
But
Wow.
let's see. Opinion from Blair Cottrell on the extraordinary case of Corpy Wapple, who set her male friend on fire making misogynist comment and now wants to be spared jail, and what it says about the dangers of our feminized legal system.
Hmm.
And I think there is a really interesting note to, I mean, there's a really interesting discussion to be had about this. Because our legal system is completely, I mean, it's very
Biased.
misandrist, it's very feminized. It's, I think this is a startling statistic that just for, what do you call it? If you go for like child custody and stuff like that, just in our state of Pennsylvania, 91% of single parents are single mothers or it's shared custody. Only 9% of single dads actually get custody of their kids. And it's like,
Yep.
you have to really be in an exceptional state versus the mother to even have that opportunity.
Yep.
Let's see. So Corpy Jean Wapple, electrician, no nose ring. I don't know what that means. I guess did she have a nose ring before? Oh, she did. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta watch out for the girls with the nose rings. Was sentenced to 7.5 years prison for pouring petrol on her friend of 9 years and setting him on fire. She'd been drinking for about 12 hours, consumed between 23 to 35 standard drinks. Oh, as well as the booger
Wow.
sugar. Prison
Oh.
love starts now. Now, hey, listen. Obviously, alcohol makes you do stupid things. It definitely impairs you. You're not using your correct judgment. However, I don't know if you could really use it. Well, I was drunk, so I set somebody on fire. It's not. I don't know. That's not a
Yeah, that's not a
super.
good stance.
It's not a
Yeah.
super strong defense, in my opinion. But and obviously, this is her maximum sentence is 7.5 years. I think she can get out in as early as 4 for setting somebody on fire and their life is forever altered by it.
Yep. Can't go out in the sun. But
Yeah.
yeah, let's let her only get 4 years for that.
Yeah, it's pretty wild when you think about it.
A 25-year-old Australian woman named Corby Jean Walpole who set her childhood friend Jake Loader on fire after he made a pretty sexist comment.
Childhood friend, that's
Apparently,
crazy.
he told her to stay in the kitchen baking scones if she couldn't handle drinking with the guys. This happened in January 2024 during...
And it's a pretty, I don't know, innocuous comment. I guess it's a little rude, but like, that's, that's not
As they open with, that's a childhood friend. So you're telling me you don't have friends that you tease with comments of that nature?
Oh, I have friends I tease, and I have friends I set on fire. So I can identify with this woman pretty well, actually.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've definitely said worse things to my friends.
I've definitely set my friends on fire.
during a night of partying and substance use. From what I've gathered, Walpole got super angry and intoxicated.
Oh, what just happened here? Yeah, I'm experiencing interruptions. Why?
5-liter petrol can from the garage, poured it over
Sorry about
Loader's
that.
head, and then lit him on fire. Loader's response was pretty wild too. He basically told her to go ahead and do it. The aftermath is horrific. Loader suffered severe burns over 60% of his body, spent 8 days in a...
Okay, so obviously he was pretty inebriated too if he's like daring somebody to light him on fire. However, I still would say the blame, I don't care what anybody says in that situation. Do not light somebody on fire. Jeez.
Everyone should be aware and know what is going to happen if you light that person on fire. So you shouldn't do it.
Well, you're
You
still
should know
responsible
what
for
goes on.
doing it. It's like,
You're
like
still
I said.
responsible for your action, whether somebody says it's okay or not.
coma, and had to undergo 10 surgeries during his 74-day hospital stay. Walpole's defense team is saying that her actions were influenced by her struggles with addiction and an unhappy relationship, as well as Loader's alleged provocative behavior. However, the prosecutors think her response was way over the top. Walpole's facing up to 25 years in prison, and her lawyers are pushing for a non-custodial sentence. The public's reaction is mixed, with some people calling for her imprisonment and others questioning the severity of the sentence given the circumstances. Some folks are also criticizing Loader's response, saying he should have done more to protect himself.
Yeah. See, it's always the man's fault constantly.
That's such a nonsense comment.
It's always the man's fault. Why didn't he do more to make sure he didn't get lit on fire?
Yeah, why didn't he stop her?
All right. So we're going to just go through this again. There's a couple comments I want to get into here that are down below. I guess his name is Loader, made a misogynistic remark to her at a party. Then she doused him with gasoline and lit him on fire. Corby Jean Walpole has been sentenced to 7.5 years in prison for setting her friend Jake Loader on fire. After a night of drinking, Corby Jean Walpole set her longtime friend Jake Loader on fire after he allegedly made a misogynistic comment to her. Loader suffered third-degree burns over half of his body. The judge called Walpole's crime unprovoked and violent, and she was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison, which does not seem like a lot for setting somebody on fire. But
and just to give some context, non-custodial, which what I thought it meant is no jail time.
Oh, yeah, well,
to have fines and community service or other alternatives as a substitute.
I think it's crazy. It's crazy. She's only getting a max of 7.5 years.
Yeah, and for her defense, for her attorney to even have the gall to even ask for no jail time, like she set him on fire. You don't want her to. You don't think she should serve jail time? She set him on fire.
I think it's a two-tier justice system. In all honesty, like if it was the reverse.
Yeah, exactly.
If it was the reverse situation, this guy would be going to jail for probably 30 years.
It wouldn't even be a discussion, and the judge would have laughed probably in his face if his lawyer was the one that said, "Oh, we're seeking non-custodial sentencing." The judge would have been like, "Are you fucking kidding me? You lit somebody on fire." But I'm sure he wouldn't say that to her.
An Australian woman. Well, I think the judge is showing incredible leniency here by giving max 7.5-year sentence.
Yeah, I think that's being lenient.
And Australia,
it was potentially 25 years, 23 years.
I think that's what they were asking for was 25
that's
years.
What the video said, yeah.
An Australian woman has been sentenced to 7.5 years in prison for setting her friend on fire following a night of heavy partying after he allegedly said a misogynistic comment to her. Corby Jean Wapple poured gasoline on Jake Loader, who was 23 at the time, and set him ablaze as they were drinking in backyard on January 7th, 2024. Wapple pleaded guilty to one charge of burning or maiming by using corrosive fluid, the outlet reported. I don't know. To me, that sounds kind of like attempted murder. I guess maybe because they were under the influence, but like, I guarantee you, if it was reversed, that would be attempted murder.
Yeah, I don't see how it's only that one charge. That's another thing.
Let's see. On the day of the party, Wapple and Loader, who had been friends for 9 years, had been drinking for 12 hours, ABC reporter. Wapple consumed between 23 and 35 drinks. That's quite a lot. And some booger sugar during the party. 24-year-old attacked Loader after he allegedly told her to get back in the kitchen and not to drink with the boys, the outlet reported. Loader sustained third-degree burns to 55% of his body and was in an induced coma for 8 days. In court, Loader's friends heard him screaming and tried to put out the flames with a dog bed, and then he was thrown into a pool, ABC reported. Wapple stood watching and said, what have I done? And he told me to do it. That doesn't really make it okay. You know what? This guy is very, very fortunate there was a pool there. What if there wasn't a pool there? Like,
honestly, if there wasn't a pool there, he probably
would die. Yeah, he'd probably be dead.
Yeah. This would be a
they're actually, he's super lucky that there was a huge body of water around. The judge overseeing the case described the act as unprovoked and particularly violent, fueled by drugs and heavy drinking, the outlet reported. This is a tragic case in so many ways for the victim and his family, and the offender and her family, 2 young lives destroyed, Judge Jennifer English said. In court, Wapple said she was remorseful and that she has given up drugs and alcohol, ABC reported. She will be eligible for parole in November 2029. Yeah, so in about 4.5 years. So, like I said, I think this is an extremely light sentence. Now, I mean, I do kind of understand that this was probably, well, it was definitely intentional.
Yeah, I mean, not spur of the moment.
It was done, while you were inebriated. But it's like, I've had my fair share of nights of being, pretty inebriated. I've never,
Last time I
set somebody on fire.
Drives drunk and kills somebody, they still get charged with homicide.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah. You can't use there is no defense of, I was under the influence. That's why I crashed my car into somebody. It's like, no, you're still responsible for your actions, even if your judgment is impaired. But it seems like in this case, it's like you're really not held that responsible.
Well, it's a unique situation,
It is a unique situation, I will say, but
it sure is, but not in a sense where she should be getting a unique sentence.
So I just wanted to read a couple of these comments here from Alina. I got offered a plea deal of years. I don't know what that means. Probation for sending someone 8 texts that were nice and not threatening in any way. Parole in 2029. I do not trust the justice system. This is insane. What would be the punishment if it had been a man that had done it to a woman? Just curious. Well, I think we all know what, like I said, he'd be going to jail for at least 25 years if that's what they were seeking.
That's what it would have been.
They would have asked him what she did to deserve it and went back to lunch. Yeah. Oh, that's the reply to that. Yeah. I don't think that's true. Just 7 years for setting a man on fire. The system is broken. It's crazy and sickening. If a guy did this to a woman, doubt he gets only 7 years and parole in 4. They have a different view of jail time in countries where the prison system isn't run by corporations for profit. This is what drinking and drugs does. People need to be more sober-minded when they go to parties. It's just sad. I don't think it was long enough. Yeah. Basically, everybody's sharing the same sentiment. I don't think that this is really justice. This guy's life is going to be forever altered. And obviously, I don't know from personal experience, but they say, being, a burn victim or, having third-degree burns on your body is like one of the worst things that can possibly happen to you. That's incredibly painful.
He went through 10 surgeries in 74 days. That's a surgery every single week.
Yeah.
For 70 days.
Yeah, and his life's going to be forever altered by it. Obviously, he didn't use the correct judging.
Sure he had to get skin grafts. Yeah, exactly. He's not completely innocent in the situation, but what he did...
I would say he's mostly innocent.
It doesn't warrant getting burned. If you want to slap...
A 24-year-old woman who doused her friend in petrol and set him alight on the Victorian border has been sentenced to 7 years jail.
Let's
the
see
victim
what
was left with burns to more than 60%
7 News
of
says
his
here.
body. Phoebe Worthley was in court.
Good afternoon. Corby Walpole arrived at court today flanked by her family. They closed ranks around the 24-year-old electrician who wasn't keen to talk. Ms Walpole, have you got anything to say to the family today? Corby Walpole and Jake Loader were among friends celebrating a 21st birthday when an argument erupted over a supposedly misogynistic comment. It prompted the then 23-year-old to douse 5 litres of petrol over her.
I mean, that's crazy too. It's like this is not a stable person. They honestly, they should probably be in a mental institution. If a comment if you lose your mind over a comment, like, you know, and you go to this extreme where you're putting gasoline on somebody, it's like you
Not
really.
saying it's okay, but if you want to slap him or hit him,
no, that's not okay. No, that's not okay.
That's
either.
not okay.
That's not okay
but
either.
You're probably still not getting anywhere near the situation that this is.
This is
where's the rationality for this type of action? There's no rationality for it.
You know, you just ignore the person too. I mean, it's not like, you know.
Yeah, just walk away.
Yeah, you can just walk away. You don't have to respond.
That is the thing. You don't have to do shit. You could leave.
Yep. Well, I guess you couldn't. I guess you couldn't leave. She was pretty intoxicated. But
either way, you go to the other room. Go with other friends.
Her school friend's head.
Or here's another thing. Ignore him.
Yeah. That would pretty much anything would have been better than lighting him on fire.
Yeah.
And set him alight. The court heard Walpole watched her friend of 9 years run around her yard on fire as his shirt melted to his body and he tried to remove it. Walpole pleaded guilty to 1 count of burn, maim, disfigure or disable a person by use of corrosive fluid. Today, the judge rejected Walpole's claims that she was provoked by Loader's comments. Judge Jennifer English told the court this is an act of serious and horrific violence that has left lifelong impacts. Noting it's never easy sending a young woman to jail, particularly a young woman, but this has to be done as a deterrent. Walpole was sentenced.
And that comment right there is the entire.
Right there, yeah.
It's the entire problem.
Right there's the problem.
Why?
100% agree.
Why would it be a bad thing to send a young woman to jail if she set somebody on fire?
It shouldn't matter what color, what sex, what anything that if that person does something wrong that commits a crime, they should go to jail.
Yeah, we have too many activist judges. I mean, we have too many in America, and I guess, you know, Australia is not safe from that either, apparently.
Sentenced to 7.5 years jail with a minimum 4.5. No emotions as she learned her fate and could be seen mouthing "it's going to be okay" to her inconsolable sister, while the victim's family could be heard cheering and clapping. This justice served today in the courts.
Thank you, no comment. We're not allowed to comment.
Walpole will be almost 29 when she's eligible for parole.
That's really not that bad. I mean, like, 4.5 years you can get out for lighting somebody on fire.
Not even the rest of your 20s.
I don't think.
You still get out before you're 30.
I mean, that's a pretty bad mistake to make, and you're just like, oh well, you know, hey.
Talk about a second chance, yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. I think, obviously the United States is not the only place with problems with the courts, but all right. Moving on.
To see what the American judicial system stance would have been on this, but I'm sure it would have been similar. I can almost guarantee it would have been similar.
Yeah, depending on the state, I would say, you know, because every state is like different, like how hard they go with people, and
correct.
Yeah. But all right, let's move on here. We're gonna talking about.
Make sure we like and share.
Oh yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. Yada.
Let us know what you think about that, or how their judicial system is over in Australia.
So we got a little bit of an update on the Karmelo Anthony situation, as just for a little bit of a brief recap here. Karmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf were at a track meet. There was some type of, I guess, I don't know, confrontation.
Argument.
All we know is there was a confrontation where apparently Karmelo was under the wrong tent. Austin asked him to move, and Karmelo responded by plunging a knife into him. And now there's a lot of people who are up in arms, and they're kind of upset because Karmelo is going to be tried as an adult, and he will potentially, you know, get 40 years to life. You know, we've talked about this, I think, last week, the whole graduation situation where Karmelo is still going to be allowed to graduate, even though, you know, he illegally brought a weapon to a track meet, used it to attack and unalive other students. And it doesn't seem like the school, the ISD school board, They don't really care how many letters have been written or anything like that, or how people think about it. They're just they've been bent over and kind of railed by activism, is what I think is happening. But
either way, yeah, they're definitely trying to. They're not doing the right thing. They're just
nah,
not
I
doing
don't think so.
At least currently. Hopefully, they change their stance.
So this was Austin Metcalf, and obviously, the picture of Karmelo Anthony here, and then this is a picture of Karmelo Anthony outside of school. You can see he has, an assault rifle here. You can see, but they say he was just a good boy. He was just a good boy. It's like this is unprecedented. Where would this behavior come from? I don't know. It's almost like if only there were warning signs that something like this could have happened. It's shocking. It's like
there just wasn't.
There were no warning signs at all that this person could be violent. None. Let's see. I don't know what this is, but oh yeah, this is just a little recap of somebody. They're asking, should he have been allowed to graduate?
Jeff Metcalf, the father of Austin Metcalf, his child, he filed a complaint with with Texas because school,
ISD school
which
district,
is probably some liberal school or some liberal principal, allowed and was scared of the backlash, allowed Karmelo Anthony to graduate. He shouldn't have been able to graduate.
Correct.
He should have been completely expelled from the school.
Correct.
If you're expelled, you don't get to graduate. He should have had to go to a new school if he wanted to. He shouldn't have been able to go to that school and graduate.
Yeah, that's the other odd thing. He has been expelled from school. I've never heard of somebody being expelled from school and they're allowed to graduate.
How? Yeah, that makes no sense.
That doesn't even make sense. You don't go to the school anymore. You've been expelled.
Yeah. He needs to attend a different school, a different institution, or get a GED.
Or get a GED.
Just imagine the memory of his father that this boy got to graduate like nothing's going on and nothing happened. And all they didn't allow him to do was not go to the graduation. That is so horrible.
Well,
and the superintendent should be in trouble. The parents should be upset that they let a criminal graduate like nothing happened, like he didn't murder.
Yeah, well, I know Jeff Metcalf has tried to talk to this ISD school board. I believe Austin's mother has also sent emails, and they're stonewalled. They have absolutely no response to it. Obviously, the school is either it's what this guy says. Either it's a very liberal principal or liberal school board, very liberal school running things. Because I don't know how you can get expelled and still graduate.
It's not an illegal thing, but at the same time, it's definitely not correct, and it's not right. It's not what should be happening in this situation.
It's that, or they've been like co-opted basically, or and they're bending over for the woke activists.
Yeah, it's very much possible they're compromised.
So I wanted to give an update quick on this. Karmelo Anthony, basically, this has been sitting at $533,000 for a while now. So I'm guessing this is pretty much shut down. I don't know. It looks like the people are still giving some stuff,
but it's slowed down.
Yeah,
I really don't think his family or he should have been gifted such amount of money.
Well, they're saying,
for his situation.
I don't think so either, but this is give, set, and go's policy. They didn't take down the Shiloh Hendricks thing either.
Yeah, I believe it should be, this platform should exist. Sure, I'm not going to argue if it should exist or not. It's not my place. I think it definitely helps people in certain situations that need the help, but this is one of those gray areas that kind of makes you think maybe these things shouldn't exist because money gets allocated to people that really don't deserve it. But that's just my opinion.
Anybody's free to donate. Like I said, I personally wouldn't donate. I personally wouldn't donate to Shiloh Hendricks either. I don't think.
Correct. Same.
But hey, if anybody wants to, go ahead. I can understand.
More power to you.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about this guy, Dominique Alexander. He is now a minister. He's the founder of the NGAN, which is, the people kind of like doing PR for Karmelo Anthony. And I think he's going to be one of the reasons that Karmelo Anthony is probably ultimately going to get a pretty harsh sentence, because this guy, the optics of this guy are completely terrible.
Yeah. Before you get into it, I wanted to talk about one thing. I don't know if you were planning on talking. I don't think you were, but I personally know people that have been expelled from school for so much less.
Oh, yeah.
Weren't allowed to graduate. They weren't allowed to go to the graduation. They weren't allowed to be on the property of the campus. They weren't allowed to do any of that.
Yeah, of course.
I know people that weren't even expelled that weren't allowed to graduate because of their grades, because of smoking, because of getting caught with cigarettes, with alcohol, with marijuana, with whatever. And you're gonna sit here and tell me that this person hasn't done something worse?
Well.
But yeah, let's get back to the topic. Let's get to the good old pastor, I guess he is.
No, like I said, I agree with you completely on that. And yeah, I do know people who didn't walk at graduation if they were allowed to graduate. And that's his punishment. That's Karmelo's punishment as well. He's not going to get to walk. And I'm like, well, that's not really a punishment. It's like if I didn't have to go to my graduation ceremony, I probably would have been happy. It's like you just got to sit there for a couple hours. It's not really that great of a thing to do.
You're still giving the guy the privilege of graduating, even though he did something that warrants him not graduating.
So this is the minister who's running this organization. And I'm not going to say, hey, people can't change, but he has a pretty extensive rap sheet here. You know, I can't...
a lot of looks, too.
A lot of looks.
a lot of different looks.
But he's very familiar with the system. Can I zoom in on this? Can I zoom in on this?
If it's Twitter, probably not. Or if it's X, probably.
Oh, there we go. I can. Look at that. Oh, a little bit. No. Oh, zooming in on. It's zooming in on the wrong thing. It's zooming in on the page itself. But yeah,
he's probably the biggest. Yep.
Anyway, yeah, I just wanted to highlight that this is the guy in charge of this, and he's got a pretty extensive criminal record. He obviously is very familiar with the system. But
he's qualified to speak on behalf of.
Well, I mean, the family is allowing him to do that. I think it's a huge mistake. I think this guy's a PR disaster. I don't care how he's changed his life around now. I mean, I'm not saying people can't. People go to jail. People do change their lives around. People commit, stupid acts and But I mean, this is just going like. This is quite a lot, man. Like this is I mean, you've been arrested, 10 times that we know of.
They're not small charges. They're pretty endangering, including shaking a baby.
Well, yeah, the one of them, yeah, shook a baby until it had like brain damage or something. So it's like,
yeah.
And I would think if this was all in Texas, maybe it wasn't all in Texas, but like you would think the Texas legal system would be a little harsher given Texas's reputation, but evidently not so. So. Teen charged with killing Austin Metcalf to be tried as an adult. Karmelo Anthony will likely face life in prison with a chance at parole in 40 years. Probably. I would say probably. But we don't know, unless there's some evidence that we haven't seen yet that shows. I mean, I don't know. I think probably. If there's any justice or faith in the legal system, then yes. But
the stance of self-defense has already been proven incorrect, correct? If I'm not mistaken.
Well, the fact is that he was on school grounds at a track meet, so there was you can't have weapons there. So I think right there, the whole question will become, well, why did you have a weapon? And he was also suspended earlier in the year, I think, for fighting. So it's not like everyone's like, oh, he was an angel, he was a good boy. It doesn't really seem like that from let's just where is it? Yeah. It doesn't really seem, if you just look on his social media, it's like, I don't have any pictures while holding guns and, throwing up gang signs or anything like that, even when I was a kid, and I know kids do stupid things, but I don't know. I think it's going to be a tough sell. It's like, they're going with this whole good boy angle. He didn't do nothing. He did nothing wrong. Which his mother, she did in that press conference, the famous, he didn't do nothing. But it's like, obviously you did. You brought a weapon to a track meet where you weren't supposed to have it. It seems, unless some video evidence comes out and changes this narrative entirely, like Austin was bullying him. But as far as we know, nothing like that has come out.
Nothing like that happened.
Well, as far as we know. But as far as we know. Probably something would have came out because, there were other people around too.
I mean, this has been a story for a couple months now, so...
Yeah, since beginning of April, so...
Yeah, so, I mean, if there was evidence, I would think it would have came out by now, but I don't know.
Well, you think there would be somebody coming out just who was around at the time. It's not like these were the only two people in the area. There were other kids around, obviously. I know his twin brother was there, Hunter.
Yeah,
so
they're all minors, so it could be a thing of can't really divulge minors' testimonies. I could see that being a thing.
It could be.
They're probably going to talk about it in court, but not necessarily to the public.
So,
I don't know. Just speculation at that point.
The teen who's been charged in the murder of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf will be tried as an adult in Texas. Last month, Metcalf was stabbed at a high school track meet after reportedly telling Karmelo Anthony, 17, that he was sitting in the wrong seat. Anthony has been charged with first-degree murder and, according to an arrest warrant, told police of the fatal stabbing, "I did it." Anthony will be tried as an adult since Texas is a concurrent jurisdiction state, according to Capital B. The laws allow prosecutors to charge minors, typically 16 or 17 years old, 16 or 17 years old, as adults with certain crimes. And in this case, I feel like it's definitely warranted. There's not.
Yeah, he should be tried as an adult.
Yeah, well, he is. So, and I guess I don't know if it's a relief for anybody. Like, I mean, the whole situation's unfortunate.
That's a very minimal silver lining in the situation, but yeah.
This
doesn't
Austin,
erase the fact this guy is not coming back. The person he unalived is gone forever.
This Austin Metcalf kid, unfortunately, it's not going to bring him back. Yeah. I can only imagine.
He's not going to graduate.
He will never get to graduate.
Yeah.
And he probably would have went on. He had like a 4.02 or something to that effect. He probably would have went on and played college ball. He probably had a bright future ahead of him, and now,
there's no future.
Yeah, and now, and unfortunately too. I mean, probably it's I'm sure his parents are hurting. I mean, his twin, I can't imagine that. I mean, that's,
his twin.
You grow up for 17 years with your best friend, and then all of a sudden one day they're just gone. It's that's, I don't know. I'm friends with pretty good friends with 2 sets of twins. One pair is very close. The other pair, they're not so close. But yeah, I know they the whole twin telepathy thing or whatever. It's it's gotta be odd. Let's see. The Collin County District Attorney's Office, which is north of Dallas, is prosecuting the case of Metcalf's apparent murder. Anthony was charged with first-degree murder in April, but a grand jury will review the evidence and decide whether to formally indict on that charge or on a lesser charge like manslaughter. If Anthony is convicted of first-degree murder, he could face life in prison with a chance at parole after 40 years. He will not face the death penalty. Quote, the Supreme Court has said, not only can you not seek the death penalty against someone who committed a crime when they're 17, you can't even get them life without parole. That would not be something we could do, even if we wanted to. I honestly, I don't see why not. I think that's kind of a silly rule. Because what are you going to say? If I'm 17, 11 months, and 3 weeks old, do I have less reasoning than I would in a week from now? I don't really think so.
It's more on the stance of, which I'm going to start out by saying I don't necessarily agree with this, but I think it's more in the stance that, oh, well, he's so young. He has so many more years. He's going to change. He's going to, he has a very good chance of turning his life around because he's so young.
I don't think he should have any more years, personally.
Personally, yeah. If you want to have that stance with somebody who shoplifted, okay, I can hear that argument. If you want to have that stance with somebody who, did something silly with even a DUI, okay, I can see that. For murder?
Well, you'd be getting an underage, too, because you can't drink unless you're 21. So you definitely can't drive.
You understand? Yeah, you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying.
I can see leniency with certain situations. I don't understand the leniency with this situation.
No, I don't either. But, maybe more will come out in court. We will have to see. As highlighted by the Daily Wire last month, Anthony's bond was initially set at $1 million, but a Collin County judge agreed to lower the bond to $250,000 and granted Anthony house arrest at his parents' house. The racially charged case made headlines again earlier this month when it was reported that Anthony was allowed to graduate high school, which we already covered. Jeff Metcalf, father of Austin Metcalf, said he wanted answers about the decision to allow Anthony to graduate high school, but he was stonewalled by the Frisco Independent School District Superintendent Mike Waldrop. I've been stonewalled, sad, I understand the protocol, Jeff Metcalf said. They said I have to make an appointment, which I did. I don't think there's been any updates on that since. There was reportedly an agreement between the district and Anthony's parents to allow the teen to graduate. And again, I don't think they should be making an agreement with anybody, given the nature of this case and given the situation and what we know so far. Quote, so I'm just curious on how they arrived at it, said Jet Metcalf, according to the CBS News. When I read their own policy manual about what it states for mandatory expulsion and also graduation, now he may be placed in a program where he was able to continue his education at home, where he did maintain the credits and could get his diploma. There's a movement online to grant Metcalf an honorary diploma, but that stirred up more feelings for Jeff Metcalf. That would be great because his name will be called right before his brother's name, he said. But the fact of the matter is, it's not going to bring my son back. I mean, it's a nice gesture, but in the long
It's
run,
an empty gesture.
well, it's the only, it's the only gesture they can do, though. That's literally all they can do. It's not the school's fault or anybody, like, you know. I mean, that's. I understand why you'd feel like, this is an empty gesture. This is completely unnecessary.
I wouldn't say it's unnecessary. It's nice of them to offer it, but it means nothing.
Well, but in the eyes of the parents, they're like, but it's like, what does it do? It's like, I completely understand that. But in the long run, my son doesn't get a diploma, so there's a part of me that says maybe Mr. Anthony shouldn't get one either, and I think you're correct on that. So,
correct.
Anyway, here, Karmelo Anthony has been charged with what? As in he's going to be tried as an adult, which is good. Hopefully they do go with the first-degree murder thing, and hopefully he does spend 40 years in prison. Because it's like, this seemed very senseless, and this has stirred up a lot of racial division. It's stirred up a lot of tribalism. Like I said, the Shiloh Hendricks thing that came out was a direct response to that, with everyone flooding her Give, Send, Go. And it kind of all stemmed from this, this attack, if everything is correct, seems pretty unprovoked. It just seems like this guy was in the wrong place. Somebody told him to move. And, if you go to a track meet where you're not supposed to have a weapon, with a weapon concealed in your bag, daring people to get in your face and touch you, you're looking for trouble. That's what you're doing. Anyway. I think that's kind of all we got on that. It's a little bit of a brief update. Moving on now to the absolute state of the WNBA, which is just proving over and over and over again why it cannot be taken seriously as a league, really. They are, the WNBA is a complete woke joke. It seems we have statements now, they don't really want fans. When fans show up, they accuse them of racism. They're being too mean to their players. They're distracting their players.
So you don't want people funding or you don't want people supporting and going to WNBA games.
Well, the weird thing is, it's like and we're gonna get into it. I have a clip from Patrick Bet-David talking about what Brittany Griner posted on her Instagram.
Yeah.
The weird thing is, it's not like the NBA. They don't need people to show up to sustain themselves. But then you have to think, it's like, what is the whole? Yeah, it's subsidized, but what is the whole point of the league then? The whole point of the league is what?
Inclusion.
I mean, I guess it's so women have a league, but it's like, but you don't even care about like trying to put up a profit, like you
don't care about making it profitable. So what kind of league is this? Yeah.
I mean, these women are, that's so unbelievably entitled that you're like, no, we should just get paid to play basketball and nobody should show up. But we'll get into that. But anyway, there was during the Indiana Fever's game last week with the Chicago Sky, apparently people said there was alleged racism towards Angel Reese. Here's the WNBA's official statement, because they had to launch an investigation. Again, proving once again that they're just not a serious league, and they never will be. The WNBA today issued the following statement regarding Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever game. On March 17th.
They should see or they should play the clips of all the different things that fans do at NBA games.
Yeah.
If they want to have this statement, that's crazy. Couldn't survive.
This is a very sensitive. They're a very sensitive league. I mean, that's. It's like, I can't figure out why the entire sports world
they're sure as hell not sensitive with how certain members of the league get fouled compared to other members of the league.
Yeah.
But whatever.
We have investigated the report of racist fan behavior in the vicinity of the court during the May 17, 2025 Chicago Sky at Indiana Fever game. Based on information gathered to date, including from relevant fans, team, and arena staff, as well as audio and video review of the game, we have not substantiated it. The WNBA is committed to fostering a safe and inclusive environment for everyone and will continue to be vigilant in enforcing our fan code of conduct. And I would push back on that. I say, no, obviously you're not. Because, they
even admit there's no evidence of it actually happened besides the hearsay. They've reviewed the information and they can't prove that it actually happened.
So from Colin Rugg here, WNBA concludes investigation and claims that fans were being racist towards Angel Reese, says they found no evidence of racism. The bogus investigation was launched following the allegation that Indiana Fever fans were being racist to Reese. Based on the information gathered, relevant fans, yada, yada, yada. We just read that. Yeah.
They do know there's numerous black people on the Indiana Fever team, correct?
Well, I think it was just that they said...
It's not all white players.
No, it wasn't. It was their fans, I believe.
Either way, like, you're telling me they're being racist to a certain black person on the opposite team, but that would make no sense because more than half the team probably is black.
Well, I'm not saying
their team. So why would they make racial? I don't understand the argument.
Well, I'm sure there are.
Doesn't make logical sense.
I mean, I'm sure there are a few racists who go pretty much everywhere and do anything, but like, you know, but yeah, again, this was all just drummed up basically, I think, because they were ashamed. They got smacked by like 30 points. Some of the allegations appear to stem from claims that fans were making monkey noises when Reese was taking free throws after a flagrant foul was called on Caitlin Clark. No evidence was found to support these claims. The WNBA continues to prove it's just one big joke. So I'm going to leave this in a smaller form here. I don't really want to play the audio because the last time we did get copyrighted for this.
In offsetting technicals.
So you can clearly hear, you can hear people are booing her. Obviously, that is that obviously you heard that noise right there. That is a dolphin. That is not a monkey. And that is normally something that, you know, they will do in the NBA to distract players, is will make noises.
They literally sell things in stadiums.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact name of them, but to distract people.
Yeah, anybody sitting behind the basket, they're always waving those like big balloons or whatever, trying to distract people. That is part of the game.
That's an actual tactic of the game, yeah.
So... no surprise that Reese missed. That honestly was a good foul by Caitlin Clark.
Who'd have thunk it?
Let's see. I don't want to like. We can only play so much of this at one time because I don't want to get copyrighted here. See, they got those things in the back. Yeah, I don't know what they're called. What, they're like big balloons, they're like tubes,
flappers, whatever. Yeah, I don't know.
I wonder if she is going to show her making the next shot. Oh, she made that one. Good for you, Angel Reese.
She got 1 out of 2. But either way,
that's fine.
So that's evidence that it was a smart move by Caitlin Clark to foul her because she could have had 2 points, but instead she has 1. So in terms of basketball, it was a smart basketball move.
I'm just saying, I heard the dolphin noise. Maybe it was a racist dolphin.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. I mean... yeah.
So this is from Patrick Bet David here. He's going to talk about how Brittany Griner is the epitome of black privilege. And yes, I would 100% agree with this, considering we traded the Merchant of Death to get a WNBA player out who nobody had heard of prior to her being arrested and put into a Russian prison.
Brittany Griner is playing a game, and this is what Brittany Griner.
Oh yeah, this is so wild. You gotta listen to this.
I was not going to comment on any of this stuff until this took place. Watch what she says. The entire internet has reacted to this. Here's Brittany Griner. They're playing against the Indiana Fever, and look what she's saying. Go ahead, Rob.
Well, the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier.
Okay, we covered this last episode, but this isn't the. We got to get through this for a second.
Pretty much sounds like trash effing white girl.
Yeah.
I mean, let's just be honest.
So the whole market reacts to this with Brittany Griner, right? And then the other quote, Rob. Then I'm going to wrap this up, and then I'm going to go to Adam. Put the quote of Brittany Griner, what she said about the NBA. This is so funny how all this stuff works out, right? She says, this is from Brittany. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there, watching on purpose. It's very disruptive.
I don't know. It's like, I feel like...
There's an audience. What is that? It's so weird. They're actual people.
Well, in her defense, she's been playing in the league for years and there's never been an audience. But it's like, isn't that what you want? It's like, that's what I don't understand about this.
That is the goal.
Honestly,
that
at
is the
some
goal.
point, if the NBA really should just cut these women off and be like, listen, this is sink or swim time. Caitlin Clark is the only person here who's drawing a crowd. But you know what? That's the weird. They don't want the crowd. They don't want anybody there. I mean, listen. I'm gonna
According to Brittany,
I'm gonna have.
apparently,
I'm gonna
people
go
don't want
back.
it.
I want to. I want to have him do that again. Play it because
Emphasize it.
Griner, what she said about the NBA. This is so funny how all this stuff works out, right? She says, this is from Brittany. Every time we play her, there's this commotion, like this loud rumbling from the stands. Turns out it's people, thousands of them, just sitting there, watching on purpose. It's very disruptive. It's called the freaking game that they pay you money to play. Don't play the game.
Yeah.
I don't even know,
100%.
as a professional athlete, how you could have that stance. It's like, wouldn't you want people to show up and see you play?
The only times that there was ever no audience was the COVID times. I'm not exactly sure how the WNBA.
No, this is the
operated
this is the WNBA, so there's never an audience.
Yeah, right.
So-
But you know, for a couple months, certain sports were really affected by having no audiences financially. Like, she doesn't understand that because they don't have to worry.
The
apparently they don't
WNBA
have to
doesn't
worry about finances.
The WNBA has not turned a profit since its inception, and clearly
don't need to,
You can see the mindset of but even the mindset of the players is they don't care. They are entitled.
They don't want an audience.
They are
They don't want
entitled
it
to
to
play
distract them.
basketball and lose money and be subsidized by the NBA. They're entitled to it.
But they want a bigger paycheck.
They want a bigger paycheck, but they don't want anybody to show up.
Yep, that makes sense.
Robinson of the WNBA will be Caitlin Clark. If she stays healthy, there's a group of them that would hope for her to be out. But
Why do you say she's going to be the Jackie Robinson of the WNBA?
well,
It's not
because
like
she's
the first white girl.
she's not the first white girl, but she's the first white superstar at the levels where she's scoring these, the threes she's shooting.
Breaking
She's like
records.
a Steph Curry. She's the first actual
breaking
superstar.
records.
Yeah, she might be like the first WNBA
So far in her
superstar ever.
career, she has already allowed or achieved, I believe, number 3 in getting 20 points and 10 assists in the entire league. Since the league has been around, she is already top 3, and she is less than 2 years in.
No, Angel Reese just broke a record too. I guess it's like the most points and the most rebounds by any player for the amount of games she's played. But
Most points too.
Angel Reese did most points and most rebounds.
And rebounds.
Yeah, but I'm like, how many of her?
I can see the rebounds thing.
Yeah, I don't know how many of her own rebounds are actually hers. I think it's like 40% of her.
She doesn't really get that many points. I don't know if that says less about the league or more about her, because she doesn't really get a lot of points.
I don't know. I don't watch Angel Reese play.
She gets a lot of rebounds, but she doesn't get a lot of points.
That people care. When's the last time we watched like college basketball? If I told you, tell me the greatest college basketball female basketball players last 30 years, and you watch
Diana Taurasi.
I know her. She's our meet, but you look at some of these names, you see some of these people on how they do.
Yeah.
But Caitlin Clark came out the gates and
you
put
notice
up some numbers.
Yeah, put up some numbers, exactly. Caitlin Clark's the only one doing anything for the league. And it really, they don't want people there. They're like, I don't want
remember
people.
reading something this morning. When Caitlin Clark is part of a game, tickets are $86.
Well,
when Caitlin Clark is not part of a game, $26.
Well, we're about to get into that.
Yep.
Because Caitlin Clark has been injured. I don't think it's severe. She's going to be out for 2 weeks. And they say ticket prices plummeting after Caitlin Clark injury. Ticket prices for the Fever Sky game have plunged by 71% following Caitlin Clark's injury, highlighting her immense impact on the WNBA. Ticket prices for the highly anticipated Indiana Fever Chicago Sky matchup on June 7th have nosedived following news of Caitlin Clark's injury, according to the Front Office Sports. Get-in ticket prices have plummeted by a staggering 71%, dropping from $86 to just $25. The game, originally expected to draw a massive crowd, was shifted to the United Center, home of the Chicago Bulls, and the largest arena in the NBA, boasting a capacity of 21,000. The move was made to accommodate the surging demand sparked by Clark's popularity and her impact on the WNBA. But with Clark sidelined due to her injury, excitement for the matchup has taken a hit, and ticket prices have followed suit. The dramatic price drop reflects both the intense fan interest surrounding Clark's rookie season and the disappointment of her being unable to play. Clark has brought a wave of attention to the WNBA, driving up viewership and ticket sales across the league. However, injuries are an unfortunate reality in professional sports, and the market has responded swiftly. She's the only draw. You know, if Angel Reese was such the crowd bringer that she thinks she is, because she says, hey, it's not all about one person, it's about me too. So I guess it's really about two people. But, you know, obviously, obviously people are not going to show up just for Angel Reese, which we know, because we've seen this reflected in the data. The Indiana Fever is the only team that is having these type of things. Yeah. The Fever Sky rivalry game is still expected to draw a crowd, but the atmosphere may shift from the fever pitch anticipation to a more subdued showdown without Clark on the court. It's a stark reminder of just how much one player's presence or absence can affect the dynamics of both the game and the business side of sports. With Clark's status uncertain for part of the season, WNBA will need to navigate both the logistical and fan experience challenges that come with such a major star being out. For fans hoping to catch the action at a discount, this price drop could offer an unexpected opportunity to see a heated rivalry play out just without its biggest draw. But and that's great.
That's like going to Chicago Bulls game without Michael Jordan. Do you want to go to Chicago Bulls game without Michael Jordan?
Yeah, no. You've had to for what, the past. When was the last time he was on the Bulls? 98.
I'm saying, like,
99?
if he was actually playing, like, would you actually go to it at the time? If he was injured, I guarantee you sales for those tickets went down because.
Of course, yeah, because Michael Jordan's a huge draw. I remember because I was going to. I actually went to basketball games around this time. I went to see the Sixers. And even when this was back, he was off the Bulls at this point. He was on the Washington Wizards. But even those games, all the Wizard games were sold out, even though the Wizards was not a good team, just because people wanted to see Michael Jordan.
Just because of him, yeah.
Yep.
That's how the market goes.
Yeah, Michael Jordan was the draw. Now Caitlin Clark's the draw. If she's injured, yeah, nobody's going to go. It's just... And, from obviously what Brittany Griner said, they don't want people there. They're like, all these fans are distracting us. Why do we don't need fans. We're getting paid. We get paid anyway. It doesn't matter if we don't make money. It doesn't matter if nobody watches us. Yep. We are entitled to just play basketball. I mean, go do a street pickup game then. It's like there's no reason for all of this. I don't know. The entitlement aspect is off the charts. But
I hear so much news from these individual players. I would love to start hearing from the actual teams or the league themselves about these comments and stances and stuff like that, because they just let these quote unquote stars to
I 100%
say whatever they want.
They're gonna stand by no matter what. Like I said, the WNBA, it's a woke joke. Caitlin Clark is a huge draw. She's not enough to save the league though. It's their whole mindset is not that of competitors. It's just entitlement.
What's nuts is that you have somebody that actually is literally saving the league, saving all your jobs, and you guys are just like,
well,
nope,
they don't want her. Well, they don't care because their jobs aren't in danger.
Yeah, because realistically, their jobs aren't.
Their jobs are not in danger. They're subsidized. They obviously they've come out and said we could care less. We could care less.
The subsidization of WNBA really needs to end because until then, it's not going to.
Well, if it ends, the whole league goes down. If it ends, so
yeah, I don't think, like you said, Caitlin Clark isn't enough to.
Not to save the league, no. Like she's saving one team, sure.
She's saving Indiana Fever, yeah.
Yeah, the Indiana Fever,
save the whole league, especially when the whole league apparently is against her.
Yep. All right, so we're gonna move on from there. We got one more thing to get into, and it's about Elon Musk, and his what was it? The 9th launch he did.
Yep. I always forget what it's called. What's the Starship?
Yeah, Starship.
Yeah, Starship.
So this is the launch. I'm gonna mute this because there is no point to playing this audio.
Yeah, it's just engines roaring.
Yeah. I believe this is the 3rd launch for Starship in the past 3 months. Elon Musk really doing his best here, and all his, engineers, the whole crew over at SpaceX, trying to get something to go into Mars.
The reason specifically why this one is more important, I guess, than previous is this is the first time they are reusing the booster. and it was successfully reused.
Oh, this is the one that was caught a couple months ago.
Yeah, this is I forget exactly which flight this booster was from, but it was used in a previous space mission and brought down to Earth. You know, they did whatever they did to
Yeah, I remember
get it ready
watching.
again.
I remember watching the
now
catch a
they
few
use it
months
again.
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, epic. I could watch this on a
So
loop.
it's pretty exciting to see that we're capable. This saves millions, if not billions of dollars for space exploration to be able to reuse the boosters. So it really helps us out in our aerospace conquest of humanity.
It's not all good news for SpaceX here, as Anderson Cooper is going to explain. This is a
There's
short
some breaking
clip.
news on the SpaceX launch. I just want to show you, this is a live image of the SpaceX rocket. They have lost control of it in space. It is now rolling, we are told. That is what the image we are seeing. It's not expected to survive re-entry. We have some breaking.
Well, that's unfortunate and probably a big setback for Musk. But
I believe it's not the first one to have exploded. If I'm not correct. Oh yeah, there you go.
SpaceX's Starship explodes for third time in a row. Musk promises more frequent launches. I mean, there's
More frequent launches.
yeah, more frequent. Well, I think he's only doing it once every 2 months. I think he wants to do it about once a month or once every 5 weeks or something to that effect.
Well, I know the end goal is to, go to Mars, and in order to bring people and or equipment to Mars to make it survivable,
terraform the planet.
It's gonna take a lot of trips.
Well, a lot of trial and error too. I mean, this is a.
Oh yeah, I think we're still quite a bit away from having manned spaceships to Mars yet.
I don't think it's a bad thing to strive for, though. I mean, it would be the next logical, the next logical feat in the expansion into the universe. I mean, that would be huge if we can get to another planet and if we could terraform it somehow.
Yeah. For human civilization and for survival, it has already been stated numerous times that us as a human race, need to get the technology capabilities to become a multi-planetary civilization. So we'll see.
Really,
Looks like we're definitely on our way to it.
For our survival. I mean, we're all going to die from the eventual heat death of the universe anyway, right? So.
Yeah, it is. There's a lot of theories out there whether Earth is going to die, whether Earth is going to get too hot, too cold, but it is theorized that the human race will not survive if we just stay on Earth.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know that, but I mean, we still got like 5 billion years until the sun goes out or something like that.
Not anytime soon.
So a while.
So we don't have to find another star quite yet.
We got a little bit. SpaceX saw its Starship system explode on Tuesday in a test flight, the third consecutive setback for Elon Musk's rocket maker. The Starship system was developed to transport people and equipment around Earth, into the moon, and someday to Mars. The FAA said in a statement there were no reports of public injury or damage to public property. SpaceX's Super Heavy booster and Starship rocket exploded during a test flight on Tuesday, third consecutive setback for Elon Musk's company. Tuesday's uncrewed mission was the 9th test flight. The system suffered prior explosions in January and March. Together, the Starship rocket and Super Heavy booster are around 400 feet tall when stacked for a launch. That is massive. SpaceX has been developing the Starship system to transport people and equipment around Earth and to the moon. Musk also wants SpaceX to use Starship to colonize Mars. Live stream on Tuesday's test flight, which ran on the SpaceX website and on social media, showed the first stage booster exploding and the second stage Starship spacecraft undergoing a major fuel leak, then spinning out of control and blowing up during re-entry. The Federal Aviation Administration said in an emailed statement on Tuesday that the agency is aware an anomaly occurred during the SpaceX Starship Flight 9 mission that launched on Tuesday from Starbase, Texas, and is actively working with SpaceX on the event. The agency said there were no reports of public injury or damage to public property at this time. Musk, who is CEO of SpaceX and the world's wealthiest person, wrote on X that Starship made it to the scheduled ship engine cutoff, so big improvement over last flight. Also, no significant loss of heat shield tiles during ascent. Well, I guess that's some good news, huh? It seems like
That's why they call it a test.
They're slowly making progress, I guess.
Yeah, that's the way I would look at it. Was there explosions? Can you label it as a failure? Yes, but I wouldn't label it as a failure. We've learned quite a lot about our technology and what works, what doesn't work, and he's improving more and more each time. So call it whatever you want to call it, but it's definitely a step in the right direction.
Well, it's advancement, it's progress. I mean, that's what these tests are for. What's that from?
Correct.
Oh, I think that's from the Grinch. Why am I thinking about the Grinch? Anyway, he added that leaks cause loss of maintained pressure during the coast and re-entry phase of the rocket. Musk vowed that SpaceX would increase its Starship launch cadence with upcoming flights at a rate of about one every 3 to 4 weeks.
Wow. Yeah.
SpaceX was previously restricted to 5 Starship launches per year from its spaceport in Texas, but gained a key approval from the FAA to increase its launch cadence earlier this month. With a test like this, success comes from what we learn, and today's test will help us improve Starship's reliability as SpaceX seeks to make life multiplanetary. Which I guess, I think Mars is the only place we actually can go. Mercury is, I think, too hot. Venus is too dense.
In our solar system, yeah.
Yeah, so Mars is the only, and everything else is a gas giant, so.
Yeah, we would have to leave the solar system to find another one.
Which we have found a couple other planets that we think can sustain life, but I believe they're
They just recently found another one.
Yeah, they're too far out. So
quite a bit away. We don't have the technology to get to it.
Well, maybe with Elon's help, we will at some point. What was I saying? SpaceX didn't respond to a request for additional information on Tuesday, following what it called a rapid unscheduled disassembly. In addition to running SpaceX, Tesla and artificial intelligence startup XAI Musk leads the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency, also known as DOGE. Musk and DOGE have implemented sweeping reductions to the federal workforce and slashed financial and other resources of federal agencies, including FAA, yada, yada, yada. SpaceX has received more than $19 billion from the federal government since 2008 and is poised to take in several $billion annually for years to come, according to research by FedScout. SpaceX and 2 of its partners are frontrunners to win a big chunk of President Donald Trump's Golden Dome missile defense shield, Reuters previously reported. Which he might. He's in pretty good with Trump. I know he was just seen with Trump. I think he was over with him in Saudi Arabia. He was just at the meeting with the South African president that happened last week at the White House. So, Trump and
Musk has been
Trump and Elon are pretty much thick as thieves at this point,
including himself in a lot of most recent Donald Trump news.
Let's see what this is about here. This is
not in a bad way, though. If you ask me, not in a bad way.
Oh wow, yeah, this is let's see here.
Yeah, they were going over the statistics and the launch. There's always different things going on when you're counting down. Sometimes there's different terminology, but I found out apparently they called it holds, where they find there's an issue in the pre-launch and they have to hold the timer, which basically they just pause the timer. They pause the timer to figure out, all right, can we fix this now, or do we have to reschedule the launch? And apparently they were having ground issues pre-launch, but they were able to figure them out and launch.
It is pretty amazing to watch it go up.
Oh yeah, and if you keep watching, if you keep going forward a little bit, you're going to start seeing Earth from orbit.
Oh, maybe I went too far.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah, right there. Earth from orbit. And it's just one of the most beautiful things you can ever see. Not too many people are lucky enough to see this. But now that we have technology and social media, everyone should take this opportunity to really see how small we are in the world, in the universe, in the galaxy, and everything.
I mean, it's
really hard to comprehend the significance of how small we are.
Personally, I don't think I'm gonna go to Mars, even if I get the chance. I get nervous enough flying. Like I'm not every time I'm in a plane, I'm just so. I mean, and I know it is relatively safe. I mean, flying is safer than driving, but it's just such an unnatural thing to do.
Yeah.
It is unnatural. I know I'm not. I know we do it, but
even though I'm sure you'd be one of the most famous people in the world to be the first people to go to Mars, I'm good. I don't want to sign up for that.
I think Musk says
I don't want to be the first.
Well, he says
I definitely don't want to be the first.
Well, Musk has been quoted saying, "I would be okay with dying on Mars, just not on impact." So,
That's a fair statement. That's a fair statement.
All right. Well, that's and that's gonna wrap up that segment. Again, if you like the segment, please leave a like, comment on the video, share it out to your friends, your families, your neighbors, your dog. We actually really do pull really well with pets. Pets do seem to enjoy us.
For some reason, cats love us.
Cats really do. And this, I don't know, this is a funny thing I thought we could end on. This is the people in the hospitalized after Monday's cheese rolling event, which is a tradition in the UK that dates back centuries. And people really, I mean,
I've seen this.
They're like mice to these cheese. Like,
I've seen this, yeah.
Like, this is like, this guy really, it's like, I'm like, Rob, oh my God.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
He did 2 flips on that one, I think.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah, there's no way you're not getting hurt. All for a piece of cheese.
Some people are bracing themselves. That guy took a tumble. Oof.
Look at, dude, it's... winner got the cheese and paid hospital bill.
No, I don't think that's a different guy. Yeah, that guy is. Yeah, he's messed up.
Yeah. He didn't win. He did not win. Dude.
He did have the lead for a little bit right there, though.
Probably couldn't get up. He probably was done after that flip.
I would think I'd be done after that flip. Well, I mean, it's a silly video. I hope nobody got seriously hurt. And
let us know if you take part in that race.
I would do it. Why not? But I don't think I'd be the first one.
I would do it, but
I wouldn't be the first one down. I don't think.
I wouldn't be going first full speed. That's for sure. You
got to wear cleats or something like that for something like that.
Yeah.
But all right, everybody. I think that's there. What do you think? We're wrapping up. That's our segment. We will be back on. Be back on Friday, and yeah. All right. Thank you for joining us. Talk to you later.
Thank you for joining us. Let us know what you thought. Have a good day.